Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Skag Bones. I'm your host today. Like I promised you in the last video, I wanted to make a block, a front wheel block for our, as you can see here, we have our bike on our new giant cycling train. So normally cycling blocks are about 4 inches in height. As you can see here, this is the height that we have our bike at. So one of the first things you want to do is, you can see in the back, we have a little bit of height back there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually measure the height that we want to go. So obviously you can just take yourself a tape measure. I'm just going to take one of these little soft jaw vices that I have. I'm going to kind of measure it that way. See here, I got one of these guys, and I'm just going to kind of measure, see how thick I need to go. So I have this little mark that was right there. And so I bought this foam, Home Depot, $6. And then I bought, this is the clear Gorilla Glue for $5, okay? So for $10 you can kind of make your own, $11 you can make your own. Now there's only $20 the blocks are, but you can use a couple 2x4s, should work. So as you can see here, this is the Gorilla Glue. I'm going to put it on there. The reason I get Gorilla Glue bonds to foam, okay? And I'm just going to make a foam block. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this stuff. So you can see I got that right there. So I'm going to put 3 of these together, and then I'm going to cut a groove into it, okay? And then that should make, because if I was to actually measure this out, let me get a, I don't have a tape measure out here, but I do have a level. I'm going to measure this to be exact. So we have a little bit less than an inch. It's about 3/4 inch thick. Okay, and the height we got is, oh God, maybe 1.5 inches high, or maybe 2 inches high. So we're taking, and we're going to put 2 of these together. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it elongated. So first thing you want to do is get yourself a nice sharp knife. Okay, and then you're going to want to cut this foam. So I'm going to pretty much just cut the foam in half and take the sticker out. This is just, I don't want to say hobby foam, but it's just, I wouldn't use a foam like this. This is kind of a thin, or this is a less dense styrofoam. This is a super dense foam from Pink Panther, which is the company that makes insulation. This is actually an insulation foam is what it really is. The other type of foam you can get is, it's almost like a plastic thick foam, and you can get like that type. It's like a packing foam, and you can get that type of foam and use that as well, but we're not going to be using that. We're using this insulation foam. So get yourself a nice sharp knife, and we're going to start by cutting it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut all the way down the half of the foam. So I'm going to get my straight edge, which is my level pretty much. I'm just going to, I'm going to see how long this is here first. So talking 16. Okay, so this is a little bit over 2 feet in length. It's roughly, sorry, no, it's a little bit less than 2 feet in length. So I'm going to cut it right around the 2 foot, or the 1 foot mark, 12-inch mark. So we're going to cut it right in here. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you're just, like I said, we're just making a kind of making a mark here on the foam. Okay, so we're going to make a mark like this. I made a mark all the way down the foam there, like so. Then the next thing I'm going to do, instead of trying to cut the foam, and this is a lot of problems people have, I'm going to actually take my knife along the line. And yes, it's a sharp knife. You can get an X-Acto knife to do pretty much the same thing and do this, but I'm going to take and I'm going to puncture holes almost all the way through it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then take and I'm going to break this across a table, a flat surface. So I'm going to take, I'll bring this down so you can kind of see a little bit better. So we're going to just take and kind of cut this like so. Other thing you can do is you can use a saw and just probably cut through this pretty easily, but I don't want to deal with a saw making a mess everywhere, so we're just going to do it this way. Now, say, why didn't you cut it in thirds? You said you needed thirds. So we got it this way, and then what I'm going to do, I'm actually cut it in fourths, and I'm going to have an extra piece. So, like I said, yes, we do need thirds. We're going to come over. So roughly 12 inches, a little bit above or under 12 inches. And once again, we're going to make our line. It's not perfect, but just kind of cut into it a little bit. You can use a pen if you wanted to, that's not a problem. I'm just doing it this way. Okay. So, once again, I'm going to take the big thing is you're opening up the board so that when you go to break it, that there's more the line will guide it and make a cut. It's kind of like taking a piece of paper when you're in school and you take a piece of paper and you fold it up real fine and then rip it over an edge of it. So now we have that. Okay, so I'm going to move my stuff. Now I'm going to kind of use the top of my toolbox here kind of as a straight edge. For this. Take a drink here real quick. There we go, and I'll bring you up here. We're going to use the top of the toolbox. And we're going to take, just like so, we're going to break it. Okay, just like that. And we're going to come over here. We're going to bam, just like that. Those are a little cleaner because I cut through it a little bit farther. We're going to do the same thing over here. So, we're going to have an extra piece of foam. You can kind of toss that off to the side, however you want to do it, or get the one side of this is curved a little bit. So I'm going to try to use the 3 flattest ones that we got for this. Okay, and then okay, the other thing you're going to need is besides that, you're going to need 2 small vices, okay, or clamps, however you want to call it. And you can use big ones. I'm going to use these small ones. Now, you can use 4 if you want, put 1 on each end, but Gorilla Glue tells you to clamp it once you're done. So, first thing it says is to dampen it. Dampen it. So, Gorilla Glue is cured with moisture. And then lightly dampen one surface with water. Do not add water to bottle. So don't put any water inside the Gorilla Glue. You don't want to do that. So what we're going to do, I'll be right back, and then we'll continue. I'm going to grab a white cloth. We're going to dampen this a little bit, put some moisture on it, and then I'll be right back. And we'll do that. Okay, so we're back. Got our damp cloth. The first thing we want to do, I'm going to take the first sheet here, and it says to kind of dampen the one surface. Now, this doesn't mean to necessarily soak it completely. Just want to kind of dampen it up a little bit. So we're going to kind of, you can use a spray bottle if you wanted to. It shows the use of a spray bottle. So we're going to do that. We're going to do one surface at a time. Then we're going to pull out our Gorilla Glue, like so. And it says specifically not to use a too extreme amount because it expands. So I'm just going to take the Gorilla Glue, I'm going to run a bead along the edge, like so. And then I'm going to run lines up and down it like so. Okay, just like this. Nice thing is Gorilla Glue has this little tiny needle in there, and that keeps the glue from drying. So, I got this. I'm going to take, and I'm going to spread some more water on this guy. Dampen it up a little bit. And then we're going to place the Gorilla Glue down on top of it like so. Okay? And then we got our first surface. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to dampen the other side of this guy here. Being careful not to, because it's going to take a little bit to set this. And you don't want to clamp it just yet because we want to get the other piece on. I'm going to dampen kind of the other piece just a little bit right now. Okay, take your Gorilla Glue once again, go around the edge. The reason I chose the clear is because it foams up a little bit and I didn't want this funky looking foam, this like wood color stuff. Just kind of do it like so, kind of like like people do Elmer's glue. There's other epoxies that do the same thing, but Gorilla Glue really is great for foam. I really like Gorilla Glue for foam there. Okay, and then we're going to take this one side is curved a little bit, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the one side that's curved. We're going to press that down like that. And as you can see, it's starting to turn white there. Oops, dropped our box. So we're going to take our piece here like so. I'm going to press on it like that. Okay, it's already starting to foam and set. You can do it just like that. One of the other things you could do is you could put it on the floor. We could set the bike on top of it if we want to. Things like that. So we're going to leave this like this. The edges were already curved down. What we were trying to get down was the center. So as you can see, it's already starting to foam a little bit. Should be pretty good. If you wanted to add something for some weight with this guy, you could put some wood underneath it, and the wood would prevent it kind of from moving around a little bit. So then pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to wait. Let's see here. How long is it? Clamp objects together for 30 to 60 minutes. You can use heavy objects to achieve clamping pressure. Bond line improved with better clamping. So that's pretty much what you do. So it says first dampen it. Right there on the back it says glue it. Spread a thin layer of white Gorilla Glue on other surface. A little glue goes a long way. Okay. So you're pretty much dampening one surface and gluing the other surface. Okay. I dampen both surfaces because that's what I've done in the past. I dampen both surfaces and it tends to bond a little bit better with the foam. So and as you can see, it's bonding really good. It's already starting to come together. The nice thing is with the Gorilla Glue, it absolutely, once it is bonded, this ain't coming apart. This foam is nice and steady. And then what I'll do is I'll just cut in it. I will cut a groove. So that's what I'm going to start doing right now. I'm going to start actually cutting a groove in it. So one of the things that you can do, I recommend if you're going to cut a groove, to use an X-Acto knife, a very sharp knife or something like that. So that's what I'm going to pull out right now while the glue is drying. I have one. Doesn't look like I got an X-Acto knife. I thought I had an X-Acto knife. Guess I was wrong. So what we're going to do is we are going to grab I don't want to use a saw. So we're going to use our other knife that we were using before. It's a pretty sharp knife. And then we need a groove that is about the width of the tire. Okay, so now remember, as you saw before, the bike was not, the front end was not moving around a whole lot. Now if you're going to do some sprinting or something like that, I would recommend a heavier block, something a little bit heavier. But because it wasn't moving around a whole lot. As it is, this should be fine. Okay. Remember, you're trying to just prop it up a little bit. The ones that you're going to buy have a little bit of sand in the bottom of them, so they're going to be a little bit heavier duty when it comes to that. So the foam looks like it's bonding pretty good so far, as you can see. So I'm going to start cutting out a top here. Now, one thing you can do is you can actually draw out a little bit of a template on the top, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be right back, and I'll show you that part. Okay, so I got our marker here. Unfortunately, you don't really need that long of an area. If you actually look at the amount of space you actually have on the wheel that actually comes on the ground, contact with the ground, you only got, let's see, maybe the length of a pen. So that's what we're going to use to measure it. That's about 3 inches, 4 inches. And I'm going to actually I'm going to use that kind of as a template here to draw out my spot. So we're going to take, and I'm going to kind of just draw out this, so I have something to go by when I cut. Okay, we're going to start off that way, and then as we go we can kind of cut more and more. So I'm just going to kind of, and I want the big portion to be there, and then I'm just going to kind of taper out from there and make more of a slight groove up. So I'm going to make a second very thin cut. It kind of comes up to like that. So I'm not going to actually take and cut the whole thing across, just part of it there, like so. So I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to start here, and I don't need to go super deep into it. Sorry about that, drop that. One other thing you can do, if you really want to, as well, if you got a good hobby knife, you can use a good hobby knife as well. I just kind of thought about that. Take this hobby knife. Like so. I'm going to use this guy. Might cut a little bit better. Okay, so we made our main cut like so. Now what I've done is I've also seen people take like a spoon something like that. Okay. So I'm going to now go to this saw that I have, this little bit of a hobby saw. Okay. Just going to make some cuts in it like so. And I'm going to cut down into it. I'm cutting at an angle, by the way. This is kind of where it gets messy. So I kind of put my trash can under where I'm working. Then as I go, if I have to, I can take a smaller X-Acto knife. Okay. I can kind of take my other knife here, kind of use it to cut under. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm going back and forth with a couple different knives just so I can trying to do is I'm actually trying to cut the pieces out. So I got that piece out. I am going to switch over to a slightly different blade. Let's see here. I'll switch over to a flat blade like so, and my other X-Acto knife. That way I can actually just hand pull these pieces out. And as you can see, that's what I'm doing right here. So I'm just cutting that out. When I'm done, we're going to show you the finished results. I'm not going to go through all this with you, and then you'll see how this is when it's made up. Okay, folks, we're back. This is what we got. It's really rough and kind of chopped up. Not the best thing ever, but it should work for what we're doing for. And it seems the glue is pretty well set. So I'm going to take and release these pieces here. Remove the clamps we got. Then I'm going to take the bike. I'm going to take and set it up on top of this here, like so, and get down so you can see it. That's what it's going to look like right there. So, as you can see, it fits in pretty decent. It's not 100% perfect. I'm going to ride a little bit, kind of test this thing out, see how I like it and everything. Obviously, to test everything works, put some of my stuff back on the bike, and I will give you some results of what I think of the bike, or sorry, not of the bike, but of the cycling trainer. Overall, it seems like it's really fairly well built. Seems like it's going to work out really well. Quick release clamp seems like it'll work pretty good. Like I said, this you could still spin and adjust the back nut for it, and it'll work pretty good. As far as the cable's concerned, some people, you might be like, oh, you know, the cable's just gonna be sitting there, but that's not really a problem. So let's get on it, see what I think of it. As far as comfort-wise, let's see how this is going to work out for me. So we're up over it. We're gonna clip in here. And there we go. You're pretty level with it now. And as you can see, that works pretty well. I can sit here and I can kind of adjust the level. Like that. I can practice doing hill climbs from spinning at a higher cadence and I'm going slower. You can do that. Would I really practice sprinting on it? Probably not. Let's see here. Oh, there's no more clicks. So you got one position, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a 7th. 7th is your least resistance. So if I was going to do practice sprintings or something like that, I could do it here, like so. But if I'm going to practice some sprintings, I'd want probably a little bit better block than this. Not that this wouldn't work, but it's not really heavy. It's not a super heavy block. And but at least this, with something like this, obviously your best bet, your best type of trainer is going to be rollers. Rollers really are your best, overall your best trainer as far as cycling is concerned, keeping balance and everything. This is not going to help you with balance or any of that stuff. This is just if I need to be inside. For instance, today I didn't get to ride. I was having some knee pain today, so I did not get to ride. But I'm inside now. It's 8 o'clock at night, and I want to get on the bike and ride for a little bit. Then I can do that. I can train for an hour or two indoors, whatever I want to do. So, you know, I can do intervals, whatever. And this seems like it's going to really work. Now, as you can hear, it has some noise to it, but some of the noise is from the bike. You got the clicking noise from the jockey wheels. You have a whirring noise from the magnet, but that's to be expected. And it kind of gives you an idea that dependent on what gauge you're riding, what kind of speed you can get with your gearing. So 40 miles an hour to 120 RPMs is the kind of speed I'm going to get with a 5011. So it is also good to kind of see what kind of speeds you can get for your type of cycling and if you're going to be racing. So only kind of drawback of something like this is they're not easy to get off of. Talking of extra 2-3 inches off the ground, at least 2 inches off the ground extra. So whatever your bike is, you get an extra 2 inches to climb over it. Not a big deal. But it does, if you already got a nice expensive bike like we got here with the Giant, makes it really nice. The nice thing is with the Jamis, I can throw another set of pedals on there, and because the rear or my quick release skewers are the same as what comes with this, for this guy, we could very easily use that to put on here, and we could easily just slap it on here, and I could almost use it as a permanent training bike if I wanted to. So as far as that, folks, that's it for me today with this video as a setup of the Giant Cyclotron Mag 2 cycling trainer. Let's quick overview. So far, I like it. I think it's going to work out pretty good. I don't know how tire-wise we're going to go through tires. I might go and use. I might use my the Giant tires that came with the bike as far as training wheels for this. I might actually get a dedicated rear wheel just for this, so I can use that tire to set it up, just so I have one wheel that I use just for training. But I don't necessarily mind putting some wear and tear on any of the tires that I have, because if I'm riding in the garage or whatever, it's normally because I can't go outside and ride. So that's it for me, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys give us a thumbs up. It always helps us out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below in the right hand side. And like always, folks, keep riding.